Hello, so super excited to have today's guest. This is one of our first podcasts. Me and Kieran are just absolutely thrilled, and we couldn't think of a better person to have start the podcast conversations with us. So over 5 years ago now, I seen this little advert, and all I noticed was Bob Proctor on it. And I was always a big fan of Bob Proctor's work through building my business, etc. So I was like, who's this wee character? And then I kind of forgot about it. And then a girl came into my work and says, I'm going to this kind of Bob Proctor person tonight. And I went, I seen that. I'm going to go. She's like, you haven't got a ticket. And I says, you don't know me well enough. I'm blagging myself in. So that's what I did. And I went down and I just seen this two ladies walking about, and I'm like, is this the girl, this small girl walking around? And I listened to her for 2 hours, and the next day I handed her a whole lot of money, because I knew from the 2 hours of listening to her that this girl was going to help change my life. It was something that I had unconsciously been looking for, and I literally just in my bones felt I want this girl to be my mentor. Just after listening to her 2 hours, I didn't know anything about her. There was not really a brand at the time, or I didn't know anybody could recommend her or anything like that. And I can honestly say, in all the different things that I've done in my life, through self-development or any type of mindset work or any kind of inner work, that this woman is definitely one of the ones who helped shape who I am today. So I am absolutely thrilled to announce the unbelievable Kim Calvert.
Woo.
You! Was that all right? That was all right, wasn't it?
That was not bad.
So, Kim.
Yes.
So for anybody tuning in who doesn't know, you've obviously been living under a rock for the past few years.
Absolutely.
Let's start at the beginning. As me and Kieran always talk about the past, present, future concept. So I want to know, who was Kim Calvert before you had that moment of finding out who Bob Proctor was? Who were you growing up?
Who was I growing up? Well, my teacher said I talked too much and held people back. My business study teacher said I would never really do well at school. I grew up in a family home which was awesome. Like, I really so proud to say I had a wonderful upbringing. My mum and dad, very Christian home. My dad ran his own business, and my mum kind of moved into that with him. So he was an entrepreneur, no education, can't spell bus, and really, but he did so many great things. Now, I'm the baby of the family, and there's 15 years between me and my sisters, which is quite a big gap. So my sisters, when they grew up, they were really in the early days of my dad starting a business. And I now know this on reflection. And then when I was popped out, then my dad had this business, my mum was there, and I lived in a home, an entrepreneurial home. Yeah. But I didn't know that word was never used. I seen it as mummy and daddy run a shop and they're flat out busy all the time. And I spent after school going to the shop, hanging out there, because mum and dad were both working. So I pretty much lived a bit of a lonely childhood, in the sense of didn't have brothers and sisters to kind of play about with because they're all gone. School, did not enjoy that whatsoever, apart from PE and art and woodwork. And pretty much I was a wee bit of a black sheep. And I kind of knew that, but didn't really understand what that meant or what that felt. I just kind of liked to keep myself to myself. And because my mum and dad were always busy, I was always going there instead of maybe out with friends. So I kind of just lived in my own little bubble, quite frankly.
You still are, Kim, a little
Oh,
bit, aren't you?
100%. And I love it. See, the thing
It's a great
is,
bubble.
back then you don't realize it's a bubble. Now I realize, oh, that is actually a thing and I like it and I know how to use that to my benefit. But when you don't know that, then you kind of feel a bit lost and a bit lonely. And that was kind of childhood. Then went to, well, before I went to university, didn't want to go to university, didn't enjoy school, but everybody else was going. And I came from Lurgan and I just was kind of like, I think I should probably get out in some respect. And I thought, well, everyone's going to Belfast. I will go up to Belfast.
The big smoke.
The big smoke. So I looked at my UCAS form, looking at universities and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to help people and that I was good with people. So I thought, okay, well, nursing is, well, actually, that's a lie. I wanted to be in the police.
Okay.
I tried to get in 5 times.
Right.
Yeah, but I can't do math. So didn't get very far in that. Like, I'm dyslexic. I'm rubbish at math. So going down that route didn't work.
I didn't know that was a thing. So you couldn't get to the police because you were
Because
no
there's
good at
an
maths, but you
aptitude
got
test
nurse.
and all that. Oh, I know. Interesting. So
You were able to like measure medication and stuff.
Oh, 100%, although I did have to work hard on that. So then I thought, right, nursing is what it is. Went to university and I couldn't honestly say I had one friend in university. I wasn't the person to go out and party and go to nightclubs and drink. I didn't do any of that actually in my uni years. And I kind of started to find a way to dance. So that's when I started dancing, and I was a break dancer for a couple of years and then started the breakdance school in Northern Ireland down at Titanic. Was teaching kids at the weekends, absolutely loved it. And then I got a job in nursing. And for me, again, I was told, Kim, you'll not even get past a band 5. Like, you won't even succeed. How, like, because when I went to university, I never enjoyed the theory. Didn't turn up very much, being truthful. And all my tutors were like, Kim, we keep getting reports back from the wards that you are incredible with people, but you're a nightmare in university. And I was just kind of like, yeah, because I found the nursing so easy. And like, I just took to it. I started out in adult nursing and then quickly realised mental health was where my heart was, because we could do a placement in mental health. That sealed the deal. Transferred over to mental health nursing. Qualified and went up to a band 7 within a few years, and then was working as a clinical nurse specialist in psychiatry in Northern Ireland for a decade.
It's so hard to
I know.
put the two. You
I know.
Even though obviously I've known your story a long time, but it's just really reliving it there with
Oh, totally.
you.
Like, even right back from dancing, like, as much as that's not the most fanciest thing to say, oh, by the way, I was a break dancer and I'm not going to turn out and
that's
start
really
doing something.
cool.
But I loved it. And what I loved about that and the nursing was I was looking after a unit for acute mental health for young people. And these could have been seen, let's say, by other people as the bad kids. I loved it because I was the cool nurse. And I used to take there was a couple in particular, I used to take them out to dance when normally they would need a couple of staff with them, but I could get them to spin on their head and not flinch. And that was like the best part of that. But then I just soon realised there's only so much of an impact I can make within the bounds of guidelines and systems and all the rest of it. And I was seeing things just kind of go round and round and it wasn't really working. And I think, and it's only been lately I've reflected, I was seeing there was problems, but I also was not living a very fulfilled life. Because yes, I was the nurse and yes, I was the qualified, person at that time for that mental health issue. But my opinion on life, and the World Health Organization basically says well-being is when you have no disease. I do not believe in that. I think well-being is beyond that, and having no disease is where we should be. So that's when I kind of started going, hold on a minute, I'm trying to tell these people how to sort their life out. My life is not in a good place. I was in a toxic relationship. I threw myself into a sport through bodybuilding because I felt I wasn't good enough, I wasn't lovable, I don't look right. And because of being in a relationship where there wasn't that love, which on retrospect I now know I attracted, I thought the way to fix me was my body. And I think a part of that was protection as well. Like I was pretty strong, yeah. So that was really an interesting point of realizing, okay, I need to look at me. And it was one day running on a treadmill in the gym, I kind of heard Bob Proctor's voice because I loved listening to motivational things. Didn't really get the personal development world. I kind of grew up in a home that's all woohoo. Don't go near that, like don't open your mind to it. And I loved listening to motivational speakers, but I noticed that every time I listened to them, I felt good. And then I would go back into normal life and I would feel rubbish. And then I would go back, okay, let me listen to more. Okay, I feel good again. Okay, go do life. I've run out of that motivation. So then Bob Proctor came up and he says, yeah, motivation's not what you want. Motivation is just will get you to here. You want to be inspired. You want to have inspiration in your actions. And he started to explain, okay, this isn't like, just doesn't just happen to some people. Everybody has a mind. The mind has power beyond any of we can't even fully see it on this physical plane because we are here on a physical plane, but we're spiritual beings. And I started to listen to this going, what? Your mind is so powerful and you can use it to create a life that you want. And he wasn't shouting it and he wasn't kind of going, yeah. He was just going, yep, no, you have one. This is how it works. You've just never been taught it. But if you do learn how to use your mind, you can have anything you want. And don't get me wrong. There was a part of me going, huh. But do you know what I've noticed? My naivety at that time was the greatest factor in all of that. And I don't even think it was naivety. We can see it as that. It was total reception. Because when Bob spoke, he spoke to something inside of me that I didn't know exist. So then when you feel that and you weigh that up to the feeling that you get on YouTube or just even reading books, it was a whole different level. So there was a part of me just kind of knew I need it, like I needed air. So I studied it and studied it and studied it and studied it and studied it, and then thought I might contact them to find out more about it. So
when you say study, Kim, because I'm finding this really interesting. There was a phrase we spoke about before we started, that it's okay for you, you're Kim Calvert.
Yeah.
Your dynamite lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then I've heard you say you were lonely, you were lost, you were unfulfilled. Like that deeply human aspect of
Totally.
Kim Calvert.
Yeah.
Was there resistance within the home as well, being a Christian background, in terms of like Bob?
Totally.
As we know it's spiritual.
Yeah.
But was there resistance there? And when you say...
I didn't tell my parents.
Right, okay.
So just picture it in your mind. You come from a home that teaches you must work hard, get a good job, and if it's a government job, even better, right?
Safety.
Sunday table, dinner, and how's the nursing? It's all wonderful. But inside I'm going, this is not really what I want. So then when I realized I want to go and figure out who I am, and I want to go and figure out then how to help people in a bigger way, I had to make a decision, because I knew I can't give what I haven't got, and if I don't understand me, how am I supposed to go out and help other people? And that is such an important thing, especially in this day and age, because everybody is doing everything right now, and until you've done the work, which I'll get on to, you could be reciting, you could be saying it's just like Bob Proctor, but it's then looking at your results and saying, are results changing? And if your results aren't changing, you've got to go and do that to help others. So go ahead.
Sorry, just on that, that's a really massive point, I think, especially
Huge.
in today's
Yeah.
culture. And, you know, even over the years, people used to say to me, oh, you should do life coaching, Ciara. And I was like, but I didn't feel like I had my shit together
Totally.
to be a life coach. So
Yeah.
who am I to coach someone else with my life, what you're saying? And I think without throwing shade out, there is so many life coaches, there's so many people, you know, wanting to, but they're not living it. And
Totally.
not that you have to be the perfect article, because we're all work in progress, is that, you know, on the flip side of that. But, and even, it's something I talked about on a different podcast last week, about the balance between, like, I'm advertising Happy Fest, but then I was like, does that mean I have to be happy all the time? Do you know what I mean? So there was a pressure there as well.
And the thing is, it's all of our own making.
Yeah.
This is what I love about understanding the power of your mind. I didn't have to be sad, alone, lost, depressed. I didn't have to. That was all on me. Yeah. I now take responsibility for that. So if you think about it in terms of, all it is resistance. So you have a positive and you have a negative pole, and we live in here. And we give off an energy all day, every day. It's our attitude. Well, the Kim, because I'm Kim everywhere here, the old Kim lived closer to the negative pole. So there was a pull towards this pole because I kept focusing on the negatives, focusing on my negative partner. But hold on, I had to be negative to attract a negative partner, so I can't just keep blaming people. And I had all these things and I'm blaming and saying, well, I'm broke, I'm only £4.20 in my pocket. But instead of me going, well, that's the government's fault or that's the NHS fault, I went, okay, well, is the government or the NHS going to pay me what I would really love? Probably not, and I wouldn't really expect them to. But if I want to earn what I would love to earn, to live a life of choice and freedom, then I have to create it. So I took more responsibility instead of blaming. But then when I started to listen to Bob, and let's say that's more prosperous, positive vibration, you start to levitate towards that. So when people go towards that, they feel better. So it is natural they want to share it with others. But the problem is they just haven't went up enough to really grasp it. It's like when I was in fitness, everybody wanted to be a personal trainer. So I think it happens in every industry. We're just more aware of it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
How important is personal responsibility in all this? Because
it's essential. You can't live a life of expansion if you don't take personal responsibility, because all of our results are our cause. We're the cause and of the effects that we see in our life.
So I'm going to ask this, because this is something, Kim, that I struggle with a lot. Myself is like someone says to me, God, Ciara, I've never met someone who gives themselves a hard time as much as you. So the irony of me taking responsibility for myself is sometimes I give myself a hard time about giving myself a hard time.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And round I go, because I am very aware of being responsible and accountable for my own actions. So then if I step out of line or I do something that, you know, within half an hour, I'm like, I feel like shit about that. Then I'll crucify myself. I should know better. I've done this work. Why did I react like that? And then I go into the spiral of beating myself up about it. And then I'm in a negative thing. And so I've tried to learn self-compassion as well and to try and get out of that. But what would your advice be for someone who is good at kind of looking at their shit, but then not, like me, spiraling out?
You've got to be able to look at the shit, but not be able to smell it.
Oh, damn!
Wow.
So you've got to know it's there, but don't get upset about it. Because that's thinking in the past.
Wow. But it's how do you then take responsibility, learn from it, feel the pain and move on?
I think it's a misunderstanding of what responsibility means. It's not take responsibility, I should have not done that. It's more take responsibility in this now moment with your now thought of don't think that, But then the problem and the loop that people get into is, okay, I shouldn't think about that thought that I shouldn't think about, but now I'm thinking about the thought that I shouldn't think about. Yeah. And we're not saying don't not think about the thought, think about something better. So you'd shift the energy over here. If I'm still thinking, why did I do that? I'm giving the ship more energy.
Smell.
Yeah.
More smell. Kim, so this has kind of came full circle for me because nearly 3 years ago, I met you in this very room for the first time.
Love it.
Last year, spent a bit more time with you at Inception, which was a 2-day event in the Europa Hotel. I'd never been to a proper Dynamite Lifestyle event. Kira brought me last year. And on the Saturday morning when we arrived, we checked Eventbrite. We were due to host Happy Fest 3 weeks later. And we had 43 tickets sold. I don't know what happened at Inception, but I spent 2 days in your company.
Yeah.
And in the 3 weeks after Inception, we sold nearly 1,000 tickets.
I love it.
No paid ads, no sponsorship, no marketing, no PR. And if anyone asks me how, the only explanation I can give is that we were in a higher vibration of love, or I don't know.
Totally.
What happened? What happened to me? What was that?
So you're totally correct, and it didn't just happen to you. It happens to so many people when they come together in that collective environment. So essentially what I would assume, and I don't want to make this, you always have to come up with your own perceptions, but coming from the line of work of what I do, you came in with an open mind. That's the first thing. Secondly, I think you had mentioned you'd set an intention of, okay, well, I've got this coming up. Checked, I've got 43 tickets. How could I use today? You were basically testing it out, which is totally cool. So you had an intention, and then we spent 2 days talking about the source and the essence of who you are. And when a person, because there's two parts of us, there's the world that we know and kind of the ego side, and then there's the spiritual side of you. Well, I spent 2 days talking to that other version of Kieran. And whether you've met that person before, which I'd say you have, but you might have done it in a different way, that connection raised your vibration, the energy that you give off, your thinking patterns, whatever words you want to put onto it. Your thoughts are energy. And because we got your attention, your focus up here, then your energy lifted. So if your energy has increased, if we increase energy anywhere and we have it pointed in a direction, which for you was, I want to make Happy Fest a success, all that energy just went poof.
So on the Saturday night, I actually went home. I couldn't eat. I was running to the toilet. I was being sick. Something happened to me. It was if, I don't know if it was a paradigm shift taking place there and then. I did go into it with an open mind, but I did have blockages around money. And so much changed since Inception that it's hard to put into words.
Yeah. And essentially you were letting go of what no longer serves you. Old belief patterns around numerous things, probably like money is something you've identified. So then if you've been able to release, and really there are no like money paradigms per se. You had a blockage around receiving, and that is really going to come back to what you feel you're worth and what you're capable of doing. So when you started to gain awareness, because that's why these 2 days at Inception are so impactful, I am giving you awareness of things that you didn't know before. And if you don't know, you don't know. And that's what happened to me when I started to go, hold on a minute, you don't just have to get paid per month for your job. There's other options. What? And I didn't know that. I didn't know how to, I didn't understand that money was energy. I didn't understand that I can control. I didn't even understand that there was a part of my mind that controls the amount of money I earn. Even though when I really sat back and went, this makes sense, because no matter what, if I had more money in the bank or less money in the bank every month, I always had enough. And we all say, I always just have enough. But then it comes to, I want more. And then you get pay increase or you get gifted money. And then suddenly it's either burns a hole in your pocket, as we say, or a bill comes up, the money goes somewhere.
The washing machine breaks down to
Totally.
the exact amount of money that went in.
So there's
That
a
happens
part
all
of
the
your
time.
mind, just like with your blood pressure, it keeps it at this even keel. Everyone's is different. But what the set point is based on is your beliefs around money. So you woke up to thinking differently about money. You let go of what didn't serve you, and then all the money came in. And the cool thing about it is, especially because I work a lot with businesses and sales professionals, those 1,000 people were always there. You just weren't on the right frequency to receive it. So when you flip your mind onto a frequency wave, then everything we could imagine, there was 10,000 people were there. You just weren't on that frequency.
So how do you do that?
You have to reprogram your subconscious mind.
Okay.
And
that's
happens
with the
over
discipline
a
and the
period
study?
of time. Yeah, you got to study the right things. You got to have a mentor, because what that does is gives you reflective feedback. Like, how many moments today have either of you went, oh, but if I wasn't here to listen, not to what you're saying, but to what you're meaning, and reflect that back, you can stay in that place of, I know better or whatever. So by changing your programming through study, application, you've got to, a lot of people right now can recite the books. And like, even now when I do seminars, the seminars I used to do 5 years ago, 7 years ago, are so different to now, because back then I could have just done a whole seminar and your thoughts become things and people had no idea.
Yeah.
Now people are coming in and they're like, oh yes, it's the subconscious mind. People are more educated, which actually can be, because everything is a plus and a minus, but it can be whatever. Somebody can get trapped in the place of, oh, I know that. Oh no, I know it. No, I've done personal development. Yeah, I got that book. And people say it all the time and I just go,
What's the results?
but do you really? And it's not a, do you really? It's a more, oh, I just don't want you to get stuck in that place of thinking you have got it when you don't. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that we've got to then look at is, do you want to really do this? And if you do, then you've got to become disciplined, you got to make a decision, and you got to lock in. And that's not always easy. And that's why only 3% of the population really become successful in all areas.
I watched you at Inception, Kim. I think you spoke for 12 hours both days.
Yeah.
With no notes and
Yeah.
probably about 4 slides in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
But is it just that you embody that work through repetition?
Yeah, I think the truth is you both can do what I can do. It's just not maybe what you guys want to do. We are all spiritual beings. We're all connected to a powerful source. I'm connected to the same power point as you and you. But here's a camera and here's a light. They're both plugged into the same power point, but they express it differently. Wow. My expression, what I was born to do without a shadow of a doubt, was to be that person that can waken people up one thought at a time. I don't do it from an ego place. I don't do it from, oh, come and listen to me. I could talk. I could do it for a week without a break. And I just know it. And I think I always knew it, but I didn't realize it, because I believe when you're brought into this world, you know all of this, but you instantly almost forget it. So then you have to become aware, and awareness is the key to freedom. And the only way that you can become aware is through study. So that's why I got a mentor. That's why I study all day, like not as in read a book all day, but I practice. I study in the morning, I practice it all day. And I have my routines and I have all of these things. And that then keeps me in that elevated state. So people always say to me, Kim, are you not tired after that event? No, I've got more energy. And actually, it's annoying sometimes, because on day one, I'm always like buzzing when I go home. And then I'm like, I have to get up and do it again. That's fine. But I don't really want to go to bed because I am loving life. So yeah, I could give me one word, I could talk about it forever. But that's my thing.
So I'll give you one word.
Ooh.
So I'm just thinking of people watching and the kind of questions they would want to ask you. Mm-hmm. So we touched on it before we started rolling, and it's basically, again, back down to the money and the perception is the only way, really. Mm-hmm. So There's lots of people, in the healing community as well. So you've self-development, you've healing, you've kind of, how do you put it? Just different modalities of things to make us feel better. And sometimes there is such a negative connotation and kind of, but I understand that it's coming from their paradigms around money. So, your courses are expensive in other people's terms, or to be part of the source, which you're going to talk about in a minute, it's too dear for me, it's too expensive, I can't afford that. How would you kind of explain that more to someone?
First thing I wanted to ask is, how much is the source?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Haven't a clue.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
People think, oh, I can't afford that. How much is it? I don't know. Oh, right, okay. Interesting. Right? No,
I have an idea of how much it is, but I just don't want to be...
Right. Well, it's very simple. It's either monthly or you pay $297 for 3 months. Now, when you divide that up, that's $220 a day. And there are people that would maybe have this perception, and I guarantee you they're spending $220 on something every day that is not serving them. So it's not about, when people have issues around money, it's nothing to do with the product or the service. It's their perception of what they feel that value is. And if they don't understand the thing, how could they even see it's valuable?
That's not even a cup of coffee, really.
No.
£2.20 a day.
Exactly, and that's why we've done it this way. And every person that comes in, we give £4.40 of that to our charity Unstoppable. £4.20 because I had £4.20 in my pocket. So people don't know this before they judge. And this is why we live in the world that we live in, because we're judging. And what we've got to realize is, if we're judging something else, it's just a reflection of what's in you. So
that statement right there.
Yeah.
That's it. And when I try to explain that to people, it's like I have perceptions, judgments, paradigms around money that I'm aware of. But then I try to explain to someone else.
Well, you won't. This is the problem.
Yeah.
And this is where people think, well, I've explained that to somebody. You're not going to change somebody's paradigm in a 2-minute conversation. It's like saying to somebody, okay, you really need to go to the gym. Like, it doesn't make them instantly fit. And when it comes to the awareness mindset world, because it's so non-tangible, if you don't understand it, then you can think, oh, right, I should just remember that. But you don't remember it because you're not aware of it. You're not programmed to remember it. You're programmed, that's expensive. So this is why I go on about, it's not about just reading a book once. It's not just about doing a course once. It's about, are you embedding this in your subconscious mind every day? So all day, every day, I'm talking to myself.
Okay. And there's just, we are all here to live a different experience. We can't all be the same, and we can't, and this is where I kind of swing from, then I'll give myself a hard time because I should have done more studying, and then I would be a better, it's that pendulum that I swing from, and then I'll give it a good bash and I'll get some great results, and then I might go into, it's like...
Yeah, because your paradigm keeps pulling you back.
Yeah.
And then you go a wee bit and then it pulls you back. So every time you need to go a wee bit more. Okay. Yeah.
You've mentioned the word a couple of times, Kim, the source.
Yeah.
Being connected to the source and being a conduit for the source.
Yep.
And then you've named your new project, which by all accounts is going to change the narrative of the personal development world. I know it's new, but can you give us an insight into what it is?
100%. The backstory is, the source is this one place that includes everybody. It's not about what you earn or what your background is. It's one place that can give you everything that you need to make a shift in your life. Whether it is gratitude, practicing gratitude, whether it is setting your intentions for the day, doing meditations, working with people in challenges, being accountable. Every day having a wee message from me in your ear is always a joy. The list goes on, but the purpose behind it is because because I'm so passionate of this industry and because I want people to actually get results, I don't care. My brand, my company is already successful. That doesn't matter to me. It's impacting millions, and we're on a mission to impact 100 million people by using this one platform. And what we also see in the world today, especially on social media, again, there's good and there's bad. Social media for me has been great because I've grown a lot of my business through it, but then it also has the cons of, I mean, we could probably ask you both, so many Facebook groups. And everybody joins a Facebook group and then they do this thing over here. And then they go over here and they do something over here. And everybody's searching for something, or they're seeing negative, negative, negative. And what I wanted to create was a social platform that is basically, we don't use Facebook now. I've created something from a business owner. This is also phenomenal, where I can create an environment that combines the energy to make it actually more potent, if that makes sense. So when you confine energy, it speeds up momentum. So we've created this one place where people can be social, who can share in a positive-minded community, share their goals, experience growth, but that then there's actually a process, there's an implementation. It's not just another membership site where you can post positive comments. Those days are done. What this is okay, here's what I want you to implement. Here's some learning you can have today. Here's some tasks you can go to do. And this is for anybody. And there's no one in the Western society that can't afford £2.20 a day. So it really comes back down to choice. What am I going to choose to invest my thoughts, my time, and my energy in that is going to give me a greater return? So we've just launched this. It's where we host all of our programs, all of our mentorship. It's multi-layered. But what we're seeing is we've now thousands of people into it. I mean, they're just loving the challenges, loving being accountable. People are starting to say, I now have purpose and clarity. Every day I get up and I go into the source. I listen to Kim's message. I set my intentions. I can't wait to come back at the end of the day and tick them off. And then they get rewarded for that. And my whole thing of the source is, and it comes back to money, money is earned. And I believe also, looking at the laws of money, money has to be circulated. So what I'm teaching people is, if you invest in your mind, if you invest in yourself, that will come full circle, but it will come back tenfold. So if you were to come into the source, instead of just getting lost and looking at a few videos, if you had a structured 90-day plan where you're able to set a challenge, I'm able to look at it in the background and keep you accountable to it. My team are showing up live and doing these live sessions 3 times a week. You earn coins every time you take an action. And then you use those coins at the end to buy more of my time. So there's no money exchanged, but because you were disciplined and because you...
Kim coin?
Yeah, it's our dynamite frequency. Then I'm rewarding you. So then, and we've got to work with human nature and the fact of, we love that validation or that checking for our likes, but this time it's now, if I do my work and put me first, I'm getting rewarded, which gives me more value, which is just so transformational.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just to be in a community with like-minded people, I think, is in itself...
Totally. Having these conversations that nobody's willing to have outside of, anywhere else. So it's just so good for people at all levels.
Just before we finish up, it's just been an absolute pleasure. I think all this, what we, us three combined, is just about keeping gaining awareness, isn't it?
Totally.
I've said this quote a few times. It's not my quote. I read it somewhere. Whatever you are aware of, you're in control of. Whatever you're not aware of is in control of you. So to me, I'm very thirsty for knowledge and awareness. And yeah, so one last question. Who holds space for you?
God.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
God, universe, source, it's all oneness to me.
Where does that faith come from, Kim? That resolute faith, understanding?
Yeah. It's the only way. The faith is a state of mind and you can cultivate it at will. But again, nobody told us that at school. Mm-hmm. So now I've learned how to develop a state of mind of faith. And that's why I don't fear too many things. I believe setting a goal should kind of make you go, oh, and I'll feel that, but I don't even see that as fear anymore.
What do you feel that as?
I see that as game on.
Excitement.
Yes. Because I know I'm capable of it, and if I feel it, that it's only because I haven't got good enough yet. So then I'll go again.
So you do feel sometimes, Kim?
Totally.
Just for us mere mortals over here.
But then I win bigger afterwards because I don't feel bad about it and I find the good in it. With every adversity, there is a seed of achievement just waiting to bloom. But if you don't know that, then you won't look for it and you'll just be crying
So
over
you
the
don't
shit.
get stuck in the downside of the failure? No. Is it a quick process to move on?
It gets quicker the more aware you become.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're so
are
welcome.
a complete legend. I'm absolutely privileged. Me and Kim were just so excited.
It's my honour. Loved it.
First
Brilliant.
podcast, first guest, and I don't think we could have asked for better. So
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you,
thank you
guys.
very much.
Appreciate it.